Welcome, listeners, to the Dark Space Station. The whispering never stopped. It had continued and showed no signs of relenting. Every day, morning, noon, and night, even as I slept, her voice haunted my dreams, calling to me. At least, that was how it had started, like an itch in the back of my mind, one that clawed, tantalized, prodded, and probed. There was no getting away from her voice. I'd been only 6 when the voices started calling to me to look up to the stars like a silent whisper, to come find them. Over time, that's when the voice changed, no longer just an echo, but she had appeared at first from a nightmare. I was standing on an alien world. One might have even have called it the moon, had I not noticed the floating debris and asteroids scattered amongst the heavens. I'd been there, in a crater, miles wide and deep enough to conceal a monument of some description. At the very center of it, slowly, I'd approached the whisper, calling, almost begging me to find it. The closer I got, the more I could feel her presence, that soon I could tell that strange markings adorned the very monument. No, it wasn't any kind of monument. It was an obelisk, like the ones present in Egypt, ancient and old. Yet the markings were not the same, somewhat older. I had no hope of understanding them, and yet the closer I proceeded, a faint blue glow began to emit from it. This was swiftly followed by the glow getting brighter as the voice grew louder and more intense. I shut my eyes as a blue pulse blasted out from it. Then I woke up. Each night, every night, the same dream. I'd visited countless counselors. None could get to the root cause. Once I even tried a medium who specialized in dream walking. To cut a long story short, I'd been thrown out, with them yelling and screaming at me to never come back. Whatever they'd seen had shaken them to their core, but I still needed answers as my dreams continued. Every night I closed my eyes. I dared myself to take another step, to try and not get that blue pulse to emit. Needless to say, I failed every time. By now I had a notebook after notebook full of drawings and notes, each clear and more refined. It was only when I'd stopped fighting the urge to close my eyes to the pulse that I moved on, taking slow steps and crawls towards the obelisk, that now I could see a figure of a woman who'd haunted my dreams for so long, standing at the foot of it, an arm outstretched, gesturing me to come closer, as if to show me something. And what was more concerning, one word stood out more than any other. Yet it was as if the woman whose beauty enraptured me, her form elegant and slender, her body covered in a free-flowing dress, her hair dark against the color of space, yet shone with the bluish hue of each pulse from the obelisk. Her eyes were entrancing, golden rimmed with an emerald core, her hands slim and her fingers almost thin, yet not malnourished, with fingertips painted in a mixture of bluish green, was trying to avert me from reading it. However, as she caressed my skin, her hand brushing against my cheek, it wasn't cold, It was warm, almost daring me to embrace it, to become one with it. But I had to understand the words on the obelisk, which were becoming more refined and clearer. Then one word, the word I was trying to focus on, as she did all she could to tempt me away from it, came into focus. Maldek. Was it a name or a place? I wasn't sure. Yet, as I read the word, she pulled my gaze to hers. What had been a sight of beauty was now transformed into a vile, repulsive thing. The emerald eyes that glinted with gold rims, now black and voidless, her body that had been slender and beautiful, now gaunt and hideous, her hair, once free-flowing with a blue tint, now matted and clumped, as if someone had withered and aged her. Within seconds I looked upon her as she screamed at me, trying to devour me whole, as I once again woke up. I wrote down that word, Maldek, looking for an answer or meaning to it. I ran it through the internet, seeing if it came up with anything. To my sheer shock and disbelief, it did. Maldek, as it seemed, was a name given to the proposed missing planet in our solar system. One that should in theory have existed between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Yet all that existed there now was nothing more but the asteroid belt. The more I looked and read up on Maldek, the more it shocked me to the core. It had been proposed that this missing planet had met a horrifying end, having been destroyed in a battle between two opposing forces. The common belief was between an advanced form of robotic life having risen up against their creators, leading to the end of Maldek. Even stranger, that the survivors had fled to Mars, which was believed to be one of Maldek's moons, not a planet in its own right, with the survivors leaving messages for us to find. However, no matter how much I found it, didn't stop the dreams that haunted me every night. The voice, the woman gesturing me to come to her, and after my last up-close encounter, I wasn't entirely sure it was for benign purposes. Then it happened. I'd been flicking through the channels, looking, having found a program on ancient life from the stars, with the topic covering Mars, and strangely enough, the asteroid belt. Yet during the advert break, something caught my attention. It was a call for people to sign up to a space program destined for the asteroid belt, with a number to call on the ticker tape. Naturally, I called, and was asked to attend. It was no secret that Earth was dying. Wars and famine had ravaged the planet, and the rising temperatures and sinking ice caps were only hastening the job of turning humans extinct. I honestly thought I'd be the only person to show up, but I was shocked to see a full convention hall full. The brief was simple: travel to the asteroid belt, get assigned a location, stay there for a number of years, mine the materials and resources, and get paid. Easy as that. That's when the dreams got more intense, as if I not only needed to be selected, I had to get selected, and as luck would have it, many sponsors had been brought in to assign crews and teams. I'd been put with a rather eccentric company called AMOD. I'd heard about them, some group leading the way for robotic advancements. but I didn't care. I just had one thought: get to the belt. Had it been blind luck or fate that somehow I'd ended up at the right floating ball of rock and right area that my dreams had given to me? After the months, or maybe years, fast asleep in those cryo chambers, we'd landed. No sooner had I gone to sleep that first night in my outpost than the calling started, like a pulse, slow and steady at first, almost haunting. I'd taken the rover, scouring the vast terrain, until at last I found it after a month. Each day now I came back, looking at the obelisk, standing at the base of the crater, with the haunting words, a constant pulse ringing in my head, that I'd taken the rover towards it, tracing a path each time to the base. I stood looking at the structure, taller than anything I'd seen before, its swirling patterns now forming words in my mind. Maldek, release, sacrifice, reborn. The words came to me in order to understand the message. I needed to find someone who would help me, and more importantly, help her. She called to me every night, asking for me to come to her, and now I understood why. It was destined to be me who would release her, for she had things to show me, and I would do what I could for her. Every other thought fled my mind. I was solely hers to command, that I soon was forgetting where I had come from. My only feelings and need was for her, and the answers she would bring. So I laid my trap at the top of the crater. I sent out a message. To anyone that can hear this, I found something. Come to my coordinates. I repeat, I found something. I drove into the crater, like a spider awaiting its prey. And it worked. She was pleased, as she whispered into my mind. Once the rover appeared at the ridge, I waved, beckoning them down. Once they arrived, I saw them gaze with the wonderment I had years earlier, yet gliding around them was her, as if reveling in a new form she was destined to take. Then she said something. Her face changed to one of fear. I could see she was trying to escape and dared to pull me with her. We started to fight. She reached for my helmet. I couldn't let it end here, to die here, before I obtained the knowledge. Yet she did it anyway. My helmet fell to the ground, and strangely enough, I could breathe without air, and I could see the terror in her eyes as I threw her with abnormal strength into her rover, knocking her out before securing her to the obelisk, my mistress looking on with glee. She came to, just in time, as I watched her squirm to break free as the obelisk came to life, its blue hues pulsing faster and faster. I could feel the ground beneath my feet hum and quake, as if an ancient force was awakening. And there she was, channeling her spectral form, forced up the obelisk towards the other. That would become her vessel, my queen. I understood it now. I was her servant, her herald, and she would mold the universe as she saw fit, as she crawled into and consumed the flesh, making it her own. And as the pulses became slower and the shaking became more controlled, I saw her break the chains with effortless ease, gliding downwards towards me, before standing, watching me. "Well done, my herald," she said, placing a hand on my head, as all at once it was filled with knowledge of the truth. She had been the reason for Maldek's destruction, her people trying in vain to stop her conquest of the universe, that they had used the obelisk to tear her from her body, shoving her essence into it before destroying their own world. While the organics of their world had long since perished on the red moon called Mars, their creations waited beneath the surface, and she would destroy them first.